Hey everyone, welcome back to the Lethal Beard's favourites list. Today we're going to be doing movies. Going to be going through my top 20 movies. Nick News requested this, so we'll go through that. 20 to 11 the first vid, and follow up for part 2 for 10 to 1. So we're going to kick it off today. Number 20 is The Blues Brothers. Now, some may or may not have seen it. It is an older movie. But it's one of my faves just because of the association it has with my family. My family, aunts and uncles love it. I grew up on it. The story itself's pretty crazy, and then when you watch the movie, you see all the car crashes, and there was no CGI back in them days, so she was legitimate cars, so they totaled a few. The characters themselves, Jake and Elwood, are great. And then some of the music that just come out of it, you got Ray Charles in there and Aretha Franklin as well. So the music was top calibre. It wasn't anything to shy away from, that's for sure. Comes in at number 20. Number 19 is the Harry Potter series. I haven't gone specific movie. I mean, you could break them down. I don't know how long we need to spend on this one because it's just one of those great ones. List. Number 18. This one's a animated series, Cars. Held special place just for when my kids were younger and we went and seen it, and then brought the DVD, and my kids just loved it. At the start, the story of Lightning McQueen, who was so confident and arrogant and then gets dropped down a peg or two for speeding, and then finds himself in a little town off Route 66 that was dying a slow death because of the new highway. Learns a bit about how to actually race. And there's just some great characters, you got Doc, Sully, and then of course Mater, who really makes the movie, and there's just some good adult content as well in there. So it makes it easy viewing for the adults, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's one that if I'm lucky enough to have great kids one day, we'll have a geezer at. Number 17, speaking of geezer, is a British film called Snatch. Now, it has Brad Pitt in it as Mickey, the gypsy, and he plays it to perfection. And the whole storyline is great around a big, massive diamond, and then there's intricacies and how they all intertwine and end up coming together at the end. It's obviously great storytelling from Guy Ritchie once again. I think it's very British, but I loved it. It was one for me, Tyrone holds a special place with some of his comments. Course I have. Course I am. And just the way he can't park in that massive space. But just some of the characters, you got Bricktop, one of the great villains, I think. Plays it to perfection. You've got Turkish, Tommy. You got Frankie Four Fingers, Bullet Tooth Tony, Avi, and of course, Boris the Blade. The unkillable Boris the Blade. His character gets played to perfection. I don't think there's any bad sections in it, and it's one of the great movies I've watched. Number 16, one of the great kids movies. It'll be the second on my list. There will be another kids movie featuring, but Monsters Inc. I think anyone who originally watched Monsters Inc. as an adult and took their kids to it was actually happy too. The story itself, the characters, Mike Wazowski, you got Sully, and then you got Little Boo, and you've got the villain Randall. And it's still one of those movies that regenerates for the next generation. Like it's timeless in a way, I think. The story itself fits in perfectly. There's no need for social media or anything in the story. But it still carries on. The doors, the scaring of children, the end storyline of Laughter's Better Than Scream, all of that, and just how it builds up and it tells a story over time, and the little moments of like they find a sock on one of the monsters, he gets shot. It just good humour for adults as well, and one of the great kids movies of all time. Number 15, in my opinion, the greatest for me, Toy Story, Lion King, all that. They're good movies, but I think Toy Story, the entire series, it really gets you as an adult, and the kids love it as well. The initial Toy Story with Buzz and Woody, and then you've got Sid next door destroying toys, and then, you know, mission to save Buzz. Woody goes over, like everyone. Then number 2, you've got where Woody gets sold and ends up with this family, or not family, this bloke, and then meets Jessie, and it goes from there, and then it goes on to number 3, where the kids are donated to charity and all that, and then end up in a daycare and lots of hugging bear. I think he's one of the great villains of all time because you just don't see it coming. But on to Toy Story 4, where they're lost. Just everyone has a great storyline. Everyone has something different, and they all capture your imagination. I'm cheating a little bit in some of these, but the Die Hard series, I'm not specifying one or the other type movie, but you've got Die Hard 1, which is original, and yes, I do classify it as a Christmas movie, if you're wondering. Of course I do. It's a Christmas movie. It's got Christmas carols in it, got Christmas trees, Christmas movie. That's all there is to it. But my favourite one is Die Hard with a Vengeance, because when I was younger, I remember seeing it with Dad, and you know, so that just gives it that little memory. But storytelling, I think it's great as well. But it ties back into Die Hard 1 with how Hans Gruber died, and now his brother's trying to get to John McClane, you think, but in the end it's just one big heist. It's got nothing to really do. If John dies, he dies. But it's a great movie. Die Hard 4.0 was different again, a lot more tech savvy, really fitted the world as we knew it then. And then Die Hard 2 was a great backup from Die Hard 1, I think. Had its comedic moments, but just had a great storyline at the airport. So, and I'll often revisit them. Number 13, Bad Boys. Now, I've watched the whole series, and outside of the first one, I don't mind them, but they're not the same caliber, so I'm not going to put them in as a series. It's just the first movie. I love the first movie. The music on that is just outstanding. The storyline's gritty, the filming's gritty. Everything after that gets a bit too outlandish, and I didn't really like it. I didn't think it fit the lads. But the storyline's great. Gives a reason around stolen drugs, then a murdered madam, and then what follows from there. And there's plenty of action. There's comedy gold, but it's not too far over the top. Like it's real adult comedy, not like comedy first, action second. Like it's flipped the other way around, and the comedy adds to it. It doesn't overtake it. So really enjoyed it. You know, Will Smith, Martin Lawrence make the most of their characters, and Michael Larry and Marcus Burnett, they're just great characters in my eyes and bounce off one another. So if you have watched the previous couple that have come out lately but haven't watched the original, do yourself a favour, go and watch the original. I think you'll really like it. Number 12. They're not the greatest movies, these two, and I'm going to put that out front, but they mean something to me. They're from a time that I was younger in high school, and it was big back then. It's American Pie 1 and 2. Now, American Pie 1 was, this is back 90s, early 2000s, and I remember lending it to someone who was a bit younger than me, and I got in trouble from their parents. So they thought it was outlandish and very sexualised, but nothing compared to today. But the storyline of these 4 blokes trying to lose their virginity by the end of season, sort of, you know, you're younger and it hits home a bit because you feel they're the same age as you, but they're not really. Like, they're in college and even older than you. But the storyline itself was great. That the comedy was exceptional. It's the beginning of the word MILF. You know, just a whole lot of moments, and was a big part of my childhood. That the original movie, I think the second one was better, maybe because I was more hyped for it. But I think the storyline of going away, finding themselves again, it wasn't all about sex, but it was really tied into it as well in different areas of actually relationship. But across both seasons, you've got the hunt for Nadia with Jim. Steve Stifler, always on the hunt, just an absolute deviant, but one of the great characters. You got Finch / Shitbreak doing his thing, weird in the first one, weird in the second one with Tantric. You've got Vicky in it as usual, Michelle and Jim ending up, and the band camp, and tying off some of them notes from the first movie. And it's just a really, really great watch for me because it brings back memories. Very poignant time of year. Home Alone 1 and 2. They're 2 of the all-time favourites. Once again, cheating here, not separating the movies, but it's my list, I'll do it all. Let's discuss the first one. It's a great movie. The original Kevin gives that great storyline, the wet bandits, the stealing, and it set a precedent for a movie because it had low budget. It wasn't expected to be anything, and it just took off. Everyone raves about the last 20 minutes, right? But it's so much more than that. Like the story leading up to it, how he got to be alone. And, you know, like years later, they're bringing out how you can see where his ticket goes into the bin. Because you just didn't match up. Well, yeah, they done the head count for the vans, but what about when they hand out the tickets? Well, they didn't hand out the ticket because it was already in the bin. And then even today, like, people sit back and think about how much was old mate earning to have a house like that, you know? And then the second one where he ends up in New York, I prefer number 2. I think there's a lot more to go around. It's got the hotel involved. It's got the moments, you know. Both movies have got that little black and white film that I originally thought was a movie in its own right, but they were actually made just specifically for each movie, which makes it even more special. The wet bandits and then the sticky bandits, they paid to perfection. Macaulay Culkin does his bit. It's just so on point. It's ridiculous, and it's a favourite of mine because I watch it every Christmas. I love watching it with my family. It's something that I love to do. My wife not so much. I don't think she enjoys it, but yeah. I love watching it with my family, and it holds a special place for me. So that's the first 10 done. Now, if you've come this far, make sure you look out for part 2. That'll be out in a day or two. Please give us a follow, give us a subscription, give us a like. There'll be more content coming, but I hope you enjoyed this 20 to 11. And we'll really have a look at a good top 10, in my opinion. And thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time.